Hi friends, I hope you are doing well. In this video I would like to speak about my experience of yoga practices and what I've managed to learn, what ideas and what life concepts about myself I gained through reading more about yoga and about spirituality. But before I start, I would like to make a review of what I've mentioned in the video where I talked about Christianity and the Orthodox religion. So, as I mentioned in that video, all that knowledges and traditions and practices had a great impact in our development and growth and on our personality. It helped me to develop and find those values which were in alignment with my personality. 10 Commandments from the Bible. It was a guide, very strong guide to me, which shaped me in a certain degree. Another aspect was the description of the biblical woman. So I was giving and I was guided to learn about the biblical woman qualities, and I took that into consideration. It was something that I accepted with open heart, and it was not something that was imposed and I had to accept as a must. It was very in alignment with my personality. I've made a research about biblical women, and I discovered that only 93 women were speaking in the Bible, and from these women 49 were called by name. So yeah, it's quite strange. Another aspect and another thing that helped me build my values, I've learned to listen to my mind and keep the purity of my mind and my body. And in parallel to that, I developed a very strong self-criticize and judge. A powerful one for me was the quotation of love your neighbor as you love yourself, and it was strong and very confusing one to me because till the age of 38 I was not sure if self-love is something good or bad, because it was associated with my ego. So I could say these were the main aspects from the Bible which helped me shape my mind, my consciousness, till I met, till I was introduced to yoga. What is the definition of yoga? On Google, I managed to find two definitions of yoga. One is related to our physical body, which says that yoga is a set of exercises which helps you to keep your body fit and flexible. And the second definition is that yoga is a philosophy which first was developed in India, in which physical exercise and meditation are believed to help people to become calmer and united in spirit with God. When I read Sri Aurobindo's books, he mentioned that yoga is the connection with God. Very simple to me. Of course, the physical aspect of life was also important. I was introduced to the terms of yoga through the books of Swami Vivekananda, and that was the book of 4 types of yoga. And it is an amazing book, and I do recommend to read these books. And you will find a lot of information, useful information about different paths of spiritual growth and development. The 4 paths of yoga mentioned by and described by Swami Vivekananda are karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, and raja yoga. I will read the definition of these types of yoga from a website. Karma yoga. It is a yoga where you turn your selfish ego into unselfish ego. So even if you don't believe in God, just focus on your work with utmost honesty, dedication and power of your mind. Be non-attached and keep working for work's sake. Instead of worrying about the result, leave the fruits of your work to the God. Bhakti yoga. Yoga of inner purification. You can purify yourself within by practicing love. So love is pure and cosmic, but ego pollutes it and gives out negative elements like lust, greed, jealousy and anger. God is the only one who truly loves us. Pour whole thoughts into the mind with prayer, chant holy words, study holy books and keep the holy company close to your heart. Followers of Krishna consciousness, they are bhakti yogas. Raja yoga seeks to attain the divine by igniting the flame of knowledge of the self within. Most seekers do not have the patience and perseverance to follow this path. Raja yoga dispels that the mind is prevented to follow the path of reason, teaching the process of meditation and concentration. It tells you to confront the restlessness of mind and uproot it. Jnana yoga is my favorite yoga path. I think I am a Jnana yogin. So it is the path of knowledge, weeding out the darkness of ignorance through the light of knowledge. It brings the fire and light alive by burning all the impurities of the mind. The mind does not give up its attachment to worldly pleasures unless it has tasted something greater and higher. Self-knowledge, according to Jnana yoga, is pure liberation. So it's interesting that when you get to know all these yoga paths, you feel what is the one which is the best fitted into your personality, with your character. And when you find people around you who are following the same yoga path, then it's easier to understand each other. But sometimes we meet people, especially in the spiritual field, who have different personalities, because we are all different. And if we are not yet mature, psychologically mature, then we believe that our path is the right one, and we try to impose our beliefs and our practices on other people in order to help them to grow, because we experience something by following this path. And it was a challenge for me for many years to understand that, because by nature I am a person of big empathy and self-judge and criticize. I am a neurotic person. I didn't know that, but my behavior was behavior of allowing other people to tell me how I should live my life. And I didn't listen to my intuition, because I didn't believe and I didn't trust myself fully. So it's dangerous to speak about spirituality, because it's very high joined to our psychological development and growth. And when we start our spiritual development and growth, I think we have to check out on ourselves how mature we are psychologically. And we can discover that only in relationship with other people, in the quality of our connections. And I will speak about psychological maturity and spirituality in another video, because it's another topic. In Swami Vivekananda's book, I also learned a lot about death, about Maya and delusion, and other concepts which comes from Hindu philosophies and religions. And I will speak about that in other videos. But what is very important to mention here is that the classical yoga path is related to brahmacharya lifestyle. So in order to get liberated, or in order to feel or be accepted as a yogin, you have to live a brahmacharya life, which means you have no sex in your life. And Ramakrishna, who was Vivekananda's teacher, and then Sri Aurobindo, who was the student of Vivekananda, and then Sri Chinmoy, who was the student of Sri Aurobindo, all these chain of teachers, they promote brahmacharya lifestyle. It is difficult to accept this brahmacharya lifestyle because our human nature is what it is. When you are not mature enough and your spirit and your psychological body didn't reach the state of maturity, then going into spirituality and trying to follow brahmacharya path is very dangerous. And I want to speak about that. Why? Because if you want to become a brahmachari, it means you have to live a life without having family, no kids, no partners. Otherwise, if you have this strong desire to have a family, then you have to take into consideration the aspects and the needs of yourself and the needs of your partner, of your children as well. Because we get trapped into an illusion, and all these philosophies which we get from the books, and sometimes by practicing mantra meditation or meditation concentration, we can experience certain spiritual experiences and connecting with our soul, and we get attached to our glimpse of experience of pure love, of light, of peace. But physically, we are not ready yet to follow this lifestyle. And sometimes we get into the state of manipulation and control without even realizing that. We believe that our glimpse of experience is something so big, and we are so attached to that, and we get again disconnected with our bodies, we get disconnected with our reality. We isolate ourselves from our people around us, and our ego gets huge dimensions. So we forget to be humbled and accept other people as parts of God as well. And it happened to me when I betrayed myself by giving my power away to other people, which I thought that they have more authority and more knowledge and experience, and they could lead me. But it was a mistake, because by betraying myself and not listening to my true self, who I had connection since I was a child. So I put myself in a place where I expected people to validate my emotions, my feelings, my personal internal realizations. And if my spiritual experience didn't match to their experiences, then it leads to confusion and arguments and lots of debates about spirituality. And that, I think, it's wrong. It shouldn't be like that. If we are not ready to accept other people's beliefs and spiritual experiences, we get trapped into this illusion. We think our way, it doesn't matter which one, Bhakti yoga, Raja yoga, Jnana yoga, or Karma yoga, is the only right way. And we get into this concept, or in this movement, like being sectants. We group ourselves and with a certain belief, and we are fighting against other people's beliefs and experiences, which actually, in reality, if this is a path of devotion, openness, and connection with light and life and universal consciousness, this is the same thing, but manifested in different ways. What I've learned from my experience of learning and studying Jnana yoga and practicing Bhakti yoga by following the tradition of Krishna consciousness, then learning and reading about integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo. All these ideas and concepts were something that I could assimilate and integrate in my system of beliefs, going through my personal filters. And this helped me to find the connection with my true self and connection with universal consciousness in a certain degree. In my next video, I would like to speak about the wisdom of Kabbalah, and I will share with you in which way my answers to my questions were answered through this wisdom, and I hope it will be useful for you. Please tell me in the comments what is your experience of yoga, and how did this yoga impacted you, your way of thinking and your way of relating to the world in general. I hope it was useful, and see you in my next video. Bye.